So, I don't know. But anyway. So I'm standing there in my mind's eye. I'm like looking at this Asian guy, and he's like squinting, trying to look at me. And then he motions his left hand, and he's like motioning, come here, with his left hand. So I'm thinking maybe there was somebody else in the room with him. And then all of a sudden he had this cloth in his hand, and he takes the the thought came into my mind. And the thought came into my mind that he had some kind of chemical on the cloth, and he starts waving this cloth. He starts waving this cloth around, and he's squinting like this. He's squinting and he's looking, and he's waving this cloth. And it was really scary. It was really scary. And I was just... I was scared. And I was like standing there like, is this real? You know what I mean? I just like didn't even know if it was real or not. I still don't know. I mean, I still think I was imagining that, right? That wasn't real. But I don't know. That dude was like he was like waving this cloth, and it seemed like it had a chemical. It was like sprinkling it around, trying like somehow that was helping him see. I don't know. It was weird. And so I'm just kind of standing there. And I was scared. I was like, oh no, what if this guy's like a wizard and he's gonna kill me or something? And I'm like, come on, that's so stupid. You're just dreaming this. It's all fake and none of it's real. But then I was like, no, some of it is real. I know some of it's real. So you can imagine like all this weird stuff going on in my head. Well, anyway. So I was scared. I was a little scared. And he's looking, squinting, and trying to see. And then all of a sudden, and he's waving this cloth, and then all of a sudden, he breaks into laughter. And he's rolling in laughter. And I'm just standing there like, what happened? You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, he probably figured out that I was just this, like, doofus person that didn't even know what they were doing. You know what I mean? And he was just laughing and laughing and laughing. And then, I was like, okay. And then he went and got this scroll. And he brings this scroll over to me, and he hands me, it was a really thick scroll. He hands me one end of the papyrus or the paper or whatever it was. And then he takes the scroll and he's going around this big globe that was in the center of the room. And he takes it in a big circle and then all the way back to me so that the scroll ended where I was standing with the other end. So that the first end of the scroll meets with the end of the beginning of the scroll meets with the end of the scroll. You know what I'm saying? And my first thought was that it represented time, that it represented our history, like time, and that I was thinking, oh, so like time is like cyclical or something. And by the way, the scroll didn't end there, like there was still a lot of scroll left. But he stopped it at that point where it met the beginning of it. And then he pointed not quite at the end of the scroll where it meets the beginning again, but like just before the end. And he points this instrument that I've never seen before. And the instrument, it had a needle on the bottom of it, but then it widened at the top so that he was holding it in the whole palm of his hand was holding it, and he was pointing the needle at this one spot that was just before the end of the scroll, and he was kind of like motioning for me to go look really closely at that area. So I was trying to look at it, and I was like, I can't see it, you know, and then he kept pointing at me. And then he kept like motioning me, no, keep looking, keep looking. So I finally was trying to really focus on where the needle was. And then all of a sudden I found myself looking at this canyon, this really deep, beautiful, beautiful canyon. Only it was not like the Grand Canyon. It was beautiful and plush green. It was so much forest. It was so beautiful. I've never seen anything more beautiful in my life. And I'm looking at this, and then all of a sudden, like a few minutes later or whatever, I see this. It was nighttime. It was nighttime. It was dark. It was nighttime. And I see this like fiery object shoot across the sky, and it was moving parallel to this canyon. And like I said, it was not the Grand Canyon because I think it was a canyon. I only saw one side of the canyon, but it looked like a canyon because it was a really, really sharp hill, mountain, whatever. I don't know, but it was super green. It was so beautiful. I'd never seen anything like it. And I see this fiery object shoot across the sky, going parallel to this canyon, and then a few minutes later, I saw it looked like the stars suddenly went blurry, and the tops of the trees went blurry. And then a few minutes after that, there was this wall of blazing hot energy, fire. It seemed like fire, except that it was not fire in the traditional sense. I really don't even know what it was, except that it was like this wall of blazing hot energy, and when it went through the canyon, it completely vaporized it. Like it didn't, the canyon, it didn't like burn it or anything. It was just vaporized, and one minute it was there, and then the next minute I didn't see anything at all. Like that was the end of the vision. I didn't see, you know what I mean? I didn't see like trees burnt or anything. I just didn't see anything. It was like as soon as that wall of energy went by, I didn't see anything. And then I came back out, and I was like standing next to the Asian person, priest or wizard or whatever, and then all of a sudden he was like, come here, and he like took me further back on the scroll, which I think was back in time, further back, and he like points the needle in this one spot, and he's like, look in there. And I was like, okay, and I looked into the needle, and I went into this. I couldn't really see that well, but what I did see was I saw this young man with dark hair, and he was smiling, and it seemed like he was on a beach, and then I like thought, I tried to communicate to him by thinking, and I was like thought the words, you know what I mean? Like I thought the words, and I told him like a young man with dark hair on a beach smiling, and he just got really upset and emotional, and he was just like, go away, go away. He starts waving for me to go away, and he like ran off into the corner, and he was like waving for me to go away. I mean, I say he, but like I said, I'm not really sure if it was a man or a woman. I'm not sure if the person was male or female. I just know they had long hair, and they were wearing a robe, and whoever they really knew what they were doing. I mean, anyway. So that was the end of that, and then I went back to trying to seek Jesus again, because then I was like, where's Jesus? And I went back to the place in my mind that I go when I'm seeking Jesus, and I call it my sanctuary, but it's just a place in my mind, you know what I mean? It's like that I go when I'm praying. And so I went back there, and I was seeking Jesus again, and then I was so upset because I went back there, and there were all these Asian military dudes, and they were in my sanctuary, and they were like, they had these tables set up, and they had all these cards, and they were like pointing, and they were like, tell us which card, and they were trying to, it was like they were conducting experiments on me, and I was like, no, and I got really upset, and then I was just like, go, and I was trying to make them leave, and then I can't remember what happened after that. I just can't remember what happened. I wish I could remember. It seems like Jesus came to me after that. Oh, I remember one other thing. And then I was like, I think they were gone. I think I said go, and then they were gone. And then I was like, and then I think Jesus was there. I'm not sure if it was the other angel or Jesus at that point, because I was like losing my sight or whatever. But I was like, why were they in my sanctuary? And I was all upset. And the angel sort of like showed me, well, you were in their sanctuary. And I was like, and then I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, right, okay. But the thing was, like, I didn't go there on purpose. An angel took me there. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. But, it was really interesting. I mean, I've never seen a person like that in my life. And then I was thinking later, I was like, was that a Tibetan? I was like, wow. Because I've never seen anything like that in my life. That was really, I mean, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. It was pretty wild though. And then that was pretty much the end of it. But the thing was, I wasn't planning on telling you guys that, because, like I said, I just knew people were going to be like, she's lying, whatever. I didn't want to tell you, so I wasn't going to say anything. But then when I went on YouTube today, I saw that one guy was talking about, warning about the Chinese invading again. And then I was like, oh man, I think I'm going to have to share my vision. Because, I don't know. The thing that got me, and I hadn't realized this when I was having the vision, the thing that got me later was that that vision that he had of Jesus fighting, was surrounded by somebody. And that was in my sanctuary too, where Jesus was fighting off the people with his sword, and the other angel was pointing to the west and the east and showing them clashing. And then that was the other thing that kind of made me think maybe I should say something, because I just, the other thing I keep thinking about, with that snowstorm, I know some people are like, well, if Jesus tells you about a snowstorm, how come he doesn't tell you about earthquakes, like every single earthquake that happens? Well, I don't know. I can't answer that, because I'm not the one in charge of the vision. Really, I'm not. So, but my thoughts on that are, maybe it's because, that snowstorm is kind of like an early warning. Because I know people in Connecticut were without power for a full week, and they said it was cold. And so I'm thinking, okay, maybe that was an early warning, like to say, something's coming, you need to get prepared. So, I mean, I really believe these visions are not just for nothing. There is something really big coming, and we should be prepared for it. So I just wanted to say again, just have a lot of extra water. I mean, it just makes sense. It just makes sense to be prepared, because we already have people, like I know Michio Kaku's been warning about power outage for a couple years now. And I mean, there is technology out there that could cause an electromagnetic pulse that could, completely like vaporize our electrical systems, and then we'd be without electricity. And the thing about that, I mean, just go watch Michio Kaku, some of his videos. I mean, he explains what would happen if our electricity was out. If the transformers or whatever were fried, then we would be without electricity for, he said, it's not me saying this, he said it, weeks, months, or years. So, I mean, it just makes sense to, because this is the same guy that was telling us the axis of the Earth shifted on February 27th. And then, that was the alignment of Elenin, and then the next alignment was on the 11th of March, when the Japan quake happened. So I'm just saying, like, he knows what he's talking about, and he's been warning about a massive power outage. So it just makes sense for us to have extra water, extra food that does not need to be refrigerated. You know what I'm saying?